Welcome, everyone, to All Women Driven, the podcast all about women in automotive and how they got to where they are today. We're looking into their past to drive women further in the future in automotive. I am your host, Sarah Davis. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, or Spotify under All Women Driven or Beauty Mama Bear. If you like what you see and want more, don't forget to hit that notification bell, subscribe, and like wherever you're listening. If you like my channel, you should also check out the Law MacArthur channel. On that channel, we do a weekly live stream where we go over all things Ford news and information. We also cover, Tim does intense guides on the vehicles. So each model, each trim gets its own video. He goes over it completely for you. Complete guides. You should also check out his channel, Ford Video Guy, where he talks all about what he's doing to his vehicles at that time. There's also RagnarCon, All Terrain Nation, and Johnny's Car Care and Reviews for our friends in Canada who want the information that Tim shares, but on the Canada side of things. So, if without further ado, let's get into this. This week's guest is Shelby Hall. All right, we have Shelby Hall here. So,
Hello.
Shelby, what do you do?
That is a great question. I feel like I ask myself that all the time. But what I do is I am a professional off-road driver and event coordinator.
Okay.
I host off-road trail rides, workshops, and I compete.
Okay, that is awesome. Um, one second. All right. So, have you always been in the automotive industry?
Most of my life, yes. Being that I'm a third generation off-roader, it is what I have done since basically the day I was born. However, I did take a little hiatus in my 20s. I thought maybe I needed to find, a traditional job. And it was a great learning experience that I don't do very well with traditional jobs. I felt like a caged bird, not being able to head out to the dirt or to the races. I had to ask for time off to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was pretty short lived. So I have spent most of my working career in the dirt.
Okay. Yeah. So, I actually watched the Rod Hall documentary.
You did.
I did. Sue suggested it. I didn't know that there was a documentary, and she said go check that out.
Yeah,
So I went and watched that. That w- it that's an amazing story. So you raced with your grandpa.
I did. Yes. So I started racing with my grandpa um, in 2011.
Okay.
That was the very first time that I rode in the right seat for my grandpa, for Rod. And I don't think I'll ever forget that race. It was so much fun. I was so excited. I was so nervous. I was like, how do you co-drive for the legend? Like
Yeah.
I didn't want to mess it up. I didn't want to like give him too much information or not enough information. And basically I rode the whole time with like a grin ear to ear. I was having so much fun and it was so rad. My grandpa just like um talked me through what he was doing the whole time. It was a lap race and it was probably like 4 laps. And
Okay.
so as we would hit different maneuvers, whether it was a rise or a turn, he would coach me through what he was doing. And then he would, each lap we would go, he would say, oh, okay, we hit that rise a little bit too slow. We can hit that going 2 miles an hour faster next time. And it was just so cool. That was definitely my first memory of racing with him. And after that, he threw me to the wolves. He put me in the driver's seat, and my first race was, I think the Baja 1000 was the next race for me.
Okay.
And I got to race alongside him for 6 years.
Wow.
And yeah, it was really incredible.
So did you race with your dad any?
I rode with him once, when I was a teenager. And then a little bit later in my career, in probably maybe 2020 or so, I was racing a UTV and I had my dad ride with me, which was a blast. It was an interesting dynamic in the race car.
So when you're were you nervous about driving with them?
Yes, I was definitely nervous. My grandpa had always said, like, I can't ride with you. I'm not a good navigator. I'm not a good rider. So he never rode with me.
Okay.
And I was nervous for my dad to ride because I really wanted to, like make him proud. I wanted to do a good job. But I also really wanted that opportunity to have him coach me. And
Mhm.
so it was awesome. He definitely coached me from the right seat, and it just ended up being such a cool opportunity for us as daughter and dad to have
Mhm.
that time together.
Completely get that. Tim and I'm his, of course, assistant here. So I'm his sidekick. We do co-host a podcast together. We go on trips together. We go off-roading together. It's just I'm his little sidekick, and I go where he goes.
That was exactly how it was with my grandpa. I loved
Yeah,
it.
it's amazing. It's the best feeling in the world to know that you're doing something with someone that you have a connection like that with.
Yep, no doubt.
So, as you were getting into it, did you find it hard to get into the automotive industry, or did you hit any roadblocks?
Um, Definitely. The motorsports industry in general is extremely hard to break into. I definitely was blessed in the fact that my grandfather was such a legend in the sport that growing up, he had introduced me to so many people. Being the sidekick, you're always there. So I
Yeah.
got to meet very a ton of people throughout the industry, which of course helped me later on. But after my grandfather passed away in 2019, I was pretty like stunned. I was shocked. I really felt like my grandpa would live forever, and he had been my mentor, and he was really
Mhm.
my pillar in off-road racing, and I didn't know if I would be able to do it without him. And there's so many layers to it. It is off-road motorsports is beyond a passion. It
Mhm.
becomes your whole entire life. If you want to be successful in racing, if you want to go out and have an awesome day just hitting the trails, there is a lot of time and money investment behind that. And, it gets overwhelming to have to dedicate that much to it. But when it's something that you love, it becomes just part of your everyday life, which it definitely has
Yeah.
for me. Um, but I feel like I've had to overcome hurdles. Being a female in motorsports, we're pretty few and far between, and
Mhm.
I feel like women are looked at under a microscope. So although our successes are big, our mistakes are really big too. People really like to point out mistakes that are made,
Yeah.
and that's sometimes hard to get over. And I think just the grind, man, the grind of being an entrepreneur and the grind of trying to get people on board with this vision that we have, that's a struggle some days too. Some days it feels like we're riding the waves, and sometimes it feels like we have fallen off the surfboard.
Right? Yeah, so as I've said multiple times here in multiple it keeps coming up. If it's something that you love to do, is it really a job? Not. It's what you do.
It's what you do. I mean, and when you're an entrepreneur, I've heard this funny thing that's like entrepreneurs choose not to work a 40-hour work week, and instead they work an 80-hour work week. And it's like, that's the truth. But when you are reaping the rewards of your efforts and you get to see your own establishment rise,
Mhm.
man, it's so worth it. And
Oh
the
yeah.
friends that you make along the way, everyone kind of has that same vibe, that same work ethic and
Mhm.
that same passion. And so you just get everybody involved, and then it just ends up being a bunch of friends that are
Yeah.
making cool things happen.
So you've raced in Baja and Rebel with Melissa and Catherine.
Yes.
Yes. Um, what do you think of Rebel? Is that I mean, how many years have you done that?
This year will be my 7th year.
Okay. So what is that experience like for you?
It has been an incredible experience over the years. It helped me become a better person. It's helped me become a better friend, a better teammate, a better competitor. It's taught me how to lose. It's taught me how to win. Like, it is really such an incredible competition. It's become my life. It's a huge part of my life. It's a 10-day rally, but
Mhm.
we train for it all year long. And it's really, truly incredible. It's so different from desert racing. And I love them both. They both have a special place in my heart. But yeah, the Rebelle is a really cool off-road navigational rally that has
Mhm.
taught me skills. It's all about keeping your vehicle together. So it's a totally stock vehicle. So
Yeah.
it taught me how to pilot that stock vehicle to its maximum potential. I now know how to navigate using map and compass. And it gives me a really good excuse to spend long weekends out in the desert with, again, my best friend who is my navigator. Then we get to go out and just have a blast perfecting our craft.
Yeah. It's amazing and to watch it like I'm coming in and I just learned about it 2 years ago. And I'm like, I could do that. I see the women in it. I hear their backgrounds and I'm like, I could be there. I could do this. Maybe not as a driver to start off, but I can do this. But it's really empowering to see this race going on and really see these women coming together and hearing the stories out of it. It's such an amazing race, and I'm like, I tell everyone about it. I'm like, you have to watch this. You have to come and watch this and follow it. Here's the link.
It's amazing. And just a little shameless plug, we have made a show. It's called Desert Roots, and we have 2 seasons up on YouTube.
Okay.
So within the rally, there is no outside media allowed.
Mhm.
Only the rally provides media. So we have brought GoPros and cameras, and we have filmed our last 2 years of rally, and we've made a multi-part docu-series covering it. And it's really incredible. I mean, we're
Yeah.
very proud of the show, but it's a really cool way to get to see behind the scenes of what it's actually like competing in the Rebelle Rally.
Mhm. Well, and we saw that with Melissa. She's like, "Yeah, I have little code words, so that way I don't have to call someone that something's wrong. I can just be like, "Oh yeah, we blew a tire, but we're good. We got it under control." And so then her husband knows that he doesn't need to bring a tire for her. Um, just little things like that that you wouldn't know about unless you're talking to someone that drove in it.
Totally, yes.
And now I watch that footage and I'm like, are they leaving messages? Is this a message to someone?
Well, that is new to me. We definitely, maybe we need to start sending some little messages like that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So you are pretty busy. You're an entrepreneur, racing, training. Do you have any side hobbies, gigs? Do you like to read? Any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I do spend a lot of my time working under the umbrella of Shelby Hall Off Road. We do offer workshops, and so when you're ready to come and learn how to rally, we'd be happy to teach you. We teach navigation workshops, driving workshops, and we host off-road trail ride events. But when I'm not working and I want my own Zen time, I love to off-road. I love to go on off-road adventures. I love reading. I love gardening. And I love just kind of being home. I travel a lot for work and being home and hang out with the family and my dog and taking her to the beach. Those are like my favorite things to do.
So, what kind of dog do you have?
She is a Cavapoo. Her name is
Okay.
Reba.
So, our moderator for our live stream, he has a cavapoo.
So cute. They're the cutest stinking things on the planet. They're like
Yes,
little bears.
they're adorable. In fact, like she doesn't like other people, and so like I made friends with her when we were in Florida, and by the end of it, she was sitting in my lap the entire time
Oh
on
my
our car ride. It was amazing. So if I get another little dog, I might look into that breed, but they
Yeah,
are good little dogs.
that's funny about the other dog. Our dog Reba, man, she is like a love. I'm surprised she's not like in my lap right now, wanting to be on camera.
See, I have two dachshunds and an Australian Shepherd.
Oh,
Yeah,
dachshunds are the cutest.
I am done with dachshunds.
Are you?
I'm done. They don't potty train.
Oh
They
yeah,
are the most stubborn dog
yeah,
to ever be out there, and they do not potty train, and I am done.
yeah. Okay, I totally understand that. That would not be fun.
Australian Shepherds, on the other hand, he is amazing. He's a livestock guardian dog for our chickens. He's amazing.
Yeah, they're so smart.
They are amazing. So, what is your vehicle preference?
So I drive a 2021 two-door Bronco Wildtrak, and I just got a new 2024 Bronco Raptor. The Bronco Raptor has not touched the dirt yet. It's so beautiful. It's so quiet. My two-door competed in the rally twice. It's my work truck. Like that thing squeaks. It has thousands of miles down in Baja. Like that thing is road hard and put away wet. The Bronco Raptor is like the pristine pavement princess that I swore I would never have. But I have to make sure that I get it expelled with PPS before it
Okay.
goes in the dirt. But man, I love that Bronco Raptor. That thing is my favorite.
They're amazing. The ride on any Raptor in the Ford lineup, the best ride you'll ever find.
Yep, agreed.
So, what I had this question in my mind as I was watching the documentary. What did your grandpa do when they stopped making Bronco?
So he had actually moved on from Bronco at that time. So
Okay.
his stint of driving a Bronco was really only about maybe 4 years
Okay.
from the late 60s into the early 70s. And he drove for Bill Strop. Bill Strop had a race team, and my grandpa kept beating them and in a Jeep. And so, you know the saying, if you can't beat them, join them. So they went to my grandpa and they begged him to please come and drive their Strop Bronco. So he did. But after he drove the Ford Bronco, he moved on to Dodge, and he raced for Dodge for many, many years,
Okay.
for probably 15 years. And then or maybe 25 years, actually 25 years. And then in the early 90s, he moved on to race for AM General, and he helped turn the Humvee into the civilian H1 Hummer that people drive today.
Okay. That's amazing. So, before they made Bronco, what were you driving?
I drove an H3 Hummer.
Okay.
Still have it too. It's kind of turned into like the shop truck that
Okay.
you just throw dirty tires in and whatever. And it's kind of like a special piece of my heart. I don't really want to get rid of it.
So, thinking about that, Um, would you say Bronco's your preference or Humvee?
The Bronco. That thing is, I love them. They are just absolute dreams to drive. They're so
Hmm.
much fun. They are so capable. They're like the perfect mix of luxury and capability. They're just fun and they look so good. I love
Yeah.
how much they resemble the vintage, the original. I just think that that flair is so unique and special, and obviously it's a special thing for my family. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I would say Bronco definitely wins
Yeah.
top spot.
So have you had a chance to drive Bronco Sport
I have.
with
I
the Sasquatch or without?
Without the Sasquatch. I competed in the Rebel Rally in 2020 with a Bronco Sport,
Okay.
and we won. So we definitely had a great experience in Bronco Sport.
Yeah. As far as I know, I don't think the Bronco Sport, since it's been out, has been beat in Rebel Rally except for this past year when it got second.
Right. Yes,
That is a feat.
that is. I would love to drive one with the Sasquatch package.
I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah, a little more ground clearance. The year that I drove it, that was one thing that was a little bit tricky, was the
Yeah.
ground clearance.
Now, have you heard the debate on whether or not Bronco will go hybrid?
I have not.
So the whole thing about Bronco is, and we talked to some engineers that are part of the Bronco brand team at the Bronco Sport Embargoed event, and they said, because we brought this up, we talked to the public, we have a live stream, and we answer Q&A. They're like, is Bronco ever going to become hybrid? What about Bronco Sport? Because a lot of us don't go off road. We would love an off or a hybrid. We don't even need it off road capable. We just want hybrid. And they were like, well, unless we can have hybrid with the capability to go off road and keep that capability the same as it is now, we're not doing it. People are like, well, Farley said by this time they'll have a hybrid in every. It's like, okay, yes, but unless they do not plan, unless that they can make it so that that has the same ground clearance with the hybrid battery in it, it's not going to happen because that hybrid battery is heavy enough, it will take away clearance.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you're going to lose something with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that keeping the capability is really important. They have built the Bronco brand to be a dominator in off
Mhm.
road, and to come out with an electric vehicle that can't meet that would be tough. And I think that maybe if there was a Bronco Sport, I like your idea of like a
Mhm.
Bronco Sport being hybrid. That would make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people are like, the Bronco Sport is the old Escape,
I have heard that also.
which I had an old Escape. I can attest. They are very similar.
They are
Um,
very similar.
so people want the old, they love the Escape, but they want the old Escape body back, which is Bronco Sport, and they want hybrid.
Yeah.
So there's that whole debate with it. But like you said, Bronco is that built wild. They don't want to take away from the brand,
Right.
you
Right.
know. So going further, who or what inspires you?
Um, well, I have a few women in my life that are truly inspirational. The founder of the Rebel Rally, Emily Miller, is
Mhm.
definitely one of my mentors. I actually grew up alongside Emily.
Okay.
She raced with my family on the Rod Hall racing team. That was how she got her introduction to off-road motorsports. And, she came into it when there were really not a lot of women in motorsports. It was like Danica Patrick, and that was it. And so she is a tough cookie. She stuck around through years and years of, a not so easy time of being a female in motorsports. And she's gone on to create the Rebel Rally and has created an incredible global brand with it. She is really an inspiration. And of course, Sarah Price is definitely one of my inspirations. She is she is so fun to watch on social media. She has such a great personality. She is that cool and that nice in real life.
Mhm.
And she is a freaking badass driver, man. She is incredible. I would love an opportunity to train with her.
Mhm.
She is a wheel woman. She is incredible.
Yeah. So in this community, we have the off-road community, and then you have the other part. Do you find off-road community to be more women friendly?
What do you think the other part is?
So day to day, you have your like Mustang enthusiasts, you have your um, non off-road typical vehicles. You have your truck enthusiasts, just the people that don't go off-roading. I tend to get a different feel from.
I feel that women in off-roading is really surging. And it's something that we try and help promote in our trail rides and our workshops. We want women behind the wheel. And so often women are off-roaders. They go off-roading with their husbands, their partners, their boyfriend, whatever, but they ride shotgun. And, they enjoy that aspect of it, but they've never been offered the opportunity to get behind the wheel.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to change. I want to give them the opportunity to get behind the wheel
Yeah.
because they might love it. They might
Yeah.
be really good at it. It's a different perspective. And I think that more and more women are getting involved and are getting behind the wheel and are loving it.
Mhm. I think I've seen there's a lot of women that I see in the groups that are single and they have a Bronco and they are very forward about it. They're like, I am a strong, independent woman and I drive.
Yep,
This is how I can do it.
yep,
Um, and so I've found that like I've been to a couple of Mustang gatherings and there is like this aura of look at me with my cool Mustang. And if you try and tell them something and they think that you're wrong, well, no, I'm right, you're wrong. It's because you're a girl, and so I find the off-road community is so welcoming
yeah,
and so warm and friendly. Everyone is.
yep,
And so forward about like, hey, you're struggling with this. Let's try this.
yep,
It's so nice and refreshing. Because I'm coming from a dealership where it's men oriented. Unless you want to sit at a desk and move papers around,
right.
um, it's not female friendly.
And I feel like the women who are in motorsports already, even if it's a trail ride that we're going out on, if they have more experience,
Hmm.
they are like open arms to the newbies that are showing up. Because we don't want them to feel uncomfortable, like we want people to feel welcomed.
Hmm.
And you know what? People show up and they don't know how to do stuff. There's only one way to learn how to pull someone out or change a tire, right?
Hmm.
And the only way you learn how to do it is by experiencing it.
Yep.
So, I feel like the off-road community is really welcoming for the most part. Of course, there's going to be some
Yeah.
filters out there, but I feel like they're pretty few and far between.
So, how do you think we could encourage women to get into the community more?
Well, I think women with a Bronco are already a step ahead
Yeah.
because A, you have a capable vehicle that is simple to understand and to drive.
Hmm.
Two, there's a really big community of Bronco owners. I don't know, I don't care where you live, there is a Bronco club. They are everywhere. And, I think kind of making that first step of finding a trail ride and just
Hmm.
RSVPing or just showing up and then you become friends with everyone that's there. You know, you leave knowing more people than you came knowing.
Hmm.
That's the first step, is just getting involved.
Yeah. Um, have you been to Bronco Supercell?
I have. It's been a few years, but I have been to the one in Colorado
Yep.
and the one in Tennessee.
Okay. Yep. I find that that is an amazing way if women are wanting to get into the community. Supercell is a wonderful opportunity. They're amazing. So as we're coming to near an end, what are some of your favorite off-road moments?
Oh my gosh, I have so many, I feel like. So one of my favorite more recent moments is from about a year ago. So last year I partnered with a nonprofit organization called Drive Toward a Cure, which is a nonprofit that raises funds and awareness for people who are affected with Parkinson's disease. And my grandfather passed away from Parkinson's. So it was a really cool opportunity for me to get involved, and get involved because I was able to host their very first off-road drive. Normally they host sports car drives, so they're beautiful on-road drives, but we got to host an off-road drive, and it's become an annual event, and it's called the Rod Hall Tribute Trail Ride. And I'm hosting it in honor of my grandpa. And last year I put a really fun route together. We hosted an after party, but I didn't really know how many people would show up. I didn't know if we would meet our financial goal, and it was incredible. We had over 30 Broncos. We surpassed our $5,000 financial goal, and the most like epic part of it was almost everyone that came had a story about my grandpa. And it was just like this really amazing, special day that we got to go spend making dust, remembering my grandpa, wheeling these vehicles that we loved. So that was a really special moment for me.
That is amazing. So, what is your favorite Rebel rally, or do you have a couple?
Um, this last year, 2024 was my favorite rally. We were in a Bronco Raptor. That thing is so fun to drive. It was the second year that Rory and I had teamed up, and so we just were in a groove. We really know how to communicate now. We know how to work off each other, and we just had fun. We laughed our butts off. Like we had so much fun, and we got second place, and we won a stage. So that all helped.
So, have you had any oopsie moments in Rebel?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. 2 years ago, we locked our keys in the car.
Oh
The
no.
keys were in it. It was running, and we got out to take a heading. And I don't know what happened. I was already out of the vehicle, but Rory closed her door, and you know how it does the double honk?
Yep.
And then my heart sank, and I was like, oh no, no, it won't lock. The keys are in it. There's no way it'll lock. It locked. So
That's supposed to be the fail safe. Like,
yeah,
it's not supposed to lock with the keys in it.
it could have been maybe a vehicle malfunction. It's really hard to say. I'm pretty sure that the vehicles that we get to compete in are like pre-production,
Oh,
so it could have been some sort of a glitch. I don't know, but
yeah.
that sucked pretty bad. Thankfully, we were able to recover from it, but that was like a not shining moment.
Yeah. So, how long were you out there stuck?
About 40 minutes,
Okay.
and
And so
then
did they come and jimmy it open for
yes, yeah. The other option was to break the window. Um,
Oh,
and that just didn't feel like a great option, to have a window down the whole time for the rest of the rally.
yeah.
We're using paper maps, and so like you really want to try and eliminate wind and dirt inside the
Yeah.
vehicle. So So at the end of the day, 40 minutes wasn't like crazy. We were able to, like I said, recover from it, but it was kind of hard to recover mentally for probably like half a day.
Yeah.
That was definitely a sucky moment.
Yeah.
We can look back and laugh at it now, though.
Right? Yep.
Yeah,
A moment to learn.
it's just moments of learning, no doubt.
Yep. Well, it has been so much fun to hear from you. Um, I will be taking some of these clips about Rebel Rally and putting them together for one Rebel Rally tribute closer
Oh,
to the time.
yeah,
So,
very cool. This year is a big year. It's 10th year
yes,
anniversary.
yes. Now, I almost forgot. I heard that you're doing Baja this year. Is that correct?
That is correct. I don't know if you can see my background, but this is our new race truck. We are racing the Nora Mexican 1000 in
Okay.
our Liberty Firearms Institute Bronco DR. We are so
That-
stoked.
it's so exciting. It sounds like a lot of fun.
It's going to be incredible. It's the debut of this race truck.
Yeah.
And, the Nora Mexican 1000 is an iconic race. It's the original Baja 1000. It's the race that my grandfather set records. He piloted the only four-wheel drive vehicle to the overall win, which was a strap-built Bronco. And so we're taking it back to where it all started for my grandpa. And we are racing our strap-inspired Bronco DR, honoring the legends and, kind of paving our own path.
That is awesome. So, what are you doing to train?
Um, so we will be taking the truck out for testing so that we can, make sure that all the parts are working. A lot of fitment testing. So I'm only 5'2". I'm very small, so most trucks don't fit me. My partner Brady Moline is sharing the driving duties with me. So we have to make sure that the truck will fit both of us. We're gonna swap. So when I'm driving, he's going to be navigating, and when he's driving, I'll be navigating. So
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna be fine tuning my navigation skills. There she is.
Well, that is a lot of excitement. Um, we wish you luck. Maybe we can have you back on afterwards.
I would love that.
Yes, go over it with you. So, well,
Definitely.
thank you for joining us, and we will see you later.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another week of All Women Driven. Join us next time as we look into the best to drive women forward in the future. Have a wonderful week.